Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, January 24th. I'm up early drinking coffee again out of this same coffee cup. And my name is Randy Stevens, and I'm talking about being PTSD free. I'm not there yet. So I'm going through with you, hopefully, how to get there and talking about things and talking about um, not only the symptoms of this disease and but the treatments and how we're going to get free of this. But let me tell you something right now. I've subtitled this message not PTSD free, but it's called PTSD free. But I've subtitled it "Let's Get Physical" because this is a physical condition, guys. And there's scientific proof. There's new proof. I'm going to put links down for you that there are actually altered brain. The brain has been altered from this, and so there's a lot of misconception about this out there. And a lot of people's ideas, if they don't understand PTSD or their fears or whatever, they'll say, "Well, it's all in your head." It's not in your head. It's in your body. It's actually physical. It's not in your head. It's not psychological. I will be putting some links down to show you that. They've actually taken some brain scans, and one of the links there from brain injured people that have been brain injured and more. I do a lot of things in the military, so people that have been injured with the brain and people that have PTSD have had a brain change. Their brains are different, and they show that in CT scans. They show that their amygdala, their right amygdala, is actually larger by 6%, and the right amygdala is what controls emotions and feelings. So this is a physical thing. I'm going to jump on the Christian sect too, because of the misunderstanding and the fear of this. Christians are terrible because all they'll do is, and I'm a Christian, so I'm jumping on the church right now. But what the church is going to do is going to say, well, somebody with PTSD, they have outburst of anger. So now we're going to quote scripture to say, be angry and sin not. And this is straight, I'm quoting Diane Lamberg, and who's in the Trauma Healing Institute, and she does talks all over the world. She's a Christian woman and does talks all over the world from this Trauma Institute, and I also have a link from her. But to quote her, people say, be angry and sin not. What are you going to do with all that anger? Be angry and sin not. And she says, what about all that fear? God has not given us a spirit of fear. And she says we need to be careful not to try to fix someone so that we feel better. And that's a trap and that we can easily fall into. And Christians need to understand this. The church needs to understand that this is not all in your head. Y'all need to understand that. If you have PTSD, the shame, the guilt, whatever you're feeling, you don't know what's going on, it's not in your head. Today I did not sleep. I haven't slept really that well. Today I'm up every hour. And so I'm dealing with PTSD, anxiety, and trying to cope with that and trying to find ways, since I've been learning, try to find ways to regulate that is very difficult. And boy, I can't wait for my actual trauma healing sessions to begin. We haven't begun that because I've been drinking. And so I've been drinking and using marijuana, and drugs and alcohol are that's what I have to treat. So I've been going to AA. That's why I say it's day 4. This is day 4 without alcohol. I got a mean headache. I think that's probably coming from that. And so, anyways, I've titled this "Let's Get Physical." So let's talk about that. PTSD and CPTSD, which is complex PTSD. We talked about the differences there, and it's raining hard right now in Southwest Florida. We talked about the differences, PTSD being a single event or CPTSD being an ongoing trauma relationally. These problems are not psychological. The root cause is chemical, or not chemical, or not psychological, but neurological. So early trauma causes actual structural changes in the brain, and we talked about that with the vets coming back home and the work that they're doing there. and the link that I'll add down below so that you can actually see the CT scans. It's a short video. You can actually see the CT scans that they've taken from people coming back from war and the changes in the brain from a regular brain, say. So there's changes in the brain. So your brain becomes wired differently. And so in that sense, when you're dealing with maybe a trigger or something in your life, if you have PTSD, you might have a trigger from sounds, smells, or gunfire. If you have CPTSD, you have maybe a trigger from, like myself, somebody withdrawing. My wife would withdraw, shut down, or leave, actually leave. And so that would re-traumatize me. So what would happen? Well, the amygdala now takes over, and we lose connection with our prefrontal cortex. And this is where people have rational thinking. That's where your planning happens. And so that's why you act the way you do. You're going to yell and scream, anger outbursts, behavioral problems altogether. And so, when you have adrenal overload like that, can break down your immune system as well. So I just want to add that it's really not good for you. So what are we going to do about it? I mean, the treatment, as we move into treatment, we're going to look at re-regulating our emotions, and that's where we have to get into, because the behaviors from PTSD, some of the behaviors might be, of course, we've talked about some of the symptoms, and some of the symptoms and behaviors, I guess they overlap from what I can see. So some of the behaviors might be substance abuse, isolation, shame. People using substances to numb the pain. And it totally makes sense why somebody with PTSD is trying to numb the pain. The pain is excruciating, and it's we're using bad behaviors, self-harming. That could, self-harming behaviors, careful there, because that could look like BPD. So I want to stop right there and say, if you're identifying with what I'm saying, you still need to have somebody, a counselor, somebody look at this and say, yeah, this is what this is. Because if you have BPD, bipolar disorder, or PTSD, you need to know the difference so you can get the right treatment. So please get the right doctor or counselor to look at you in that aspect. But so some more of the behaviors that you might have or be displaying, besides bad behaviors like self-harming, pleasing others, codependency, sexual behaviors, risky behaviors there. I saw online somewhere where PTSD people have high rates of HIV, risky acting out. Well, I mean, if you're abusing substances there also, you're enabling yourself to be inhibited to that, or be available for that. And also very interesting, for another behavior that might be indicative of PTSD and CPTSD is freeze response, or shutting down. This can actually be a behavior and a coping mechanism for PTSD. So moving on from that, so we talked about a lot of symptoms, a lot of problems associated with this, and then behaviorally. So to get into the emotional regulation and to learn how to do that, and is where I'm at. And I tell you guys, knowledge, just having the knowledge of this is starting to change me. I not in the physical sense. I haven't got over the anxiety and haven't figured out how to deal with it, but I'm starting to see. You start to see the connection to this PTSD and how you're behaving. And there's awakening for me. Like, for example, one of the things that was I said yesterday was, PTSD looks like this. If you're in front of me, then it's your problem, and you need to change so that I feel better. Now, in my life with my wife, that was a common thread. that is one of the problems that she had. I was constantly trying to change her. I'm trying to change her so that I feel better. Is ridiculous. I was even thinking about even some of the things like if I was unhappy and depressed, if I'd be going through depression and stuff, I'd look at like what can I do? Can we move? Can we do something different, or a new job or something? Trying to look for something to alleviate these feelings and this pain that's inside, and so we can't regulate that way. We have to learn how to regulate from within. And there are some. I'm going to go over some of the. Processes. You know, when you if you're overreacting or exhibit intense anger and rage and difficulty calming down, and or you go to self harm, to try to feel something. Some people do that, but these are also behaviors that would be indicative of somebody with PTSD. And so, how do you cope with that? So, here's some of the therapies that they suggest that I found online, and I'll be putting these links down for y'all too. I encourage you to comment, please. I want to learn more. I want to know what you guys are going through. If you identify with this, to please comment so that maybe we could help each other out. Maybe I can help you. You can help me. Maybe somebody out there has been through this and has come out the other side and living successfully. That'd be great if we could get somebody to do that too. So these are some of the therapies. And let me preface this by this is going to be a lifestyle change, guys. So you're going to be, no more alcohol, no more drugs, no more porn. I don't know what you're using out there, but you got to stop medicating with that, and we have to start looking into positive things, because those things are just going to bring you, they'll bring you temporary relief, but in the end, you're going to feel shame and guilt, and you're going to re-traumatize yourself. We don't want to re-traumatize ourselves and just keep going through anxiety. Whatever it is that you are going through is just going to keep going on. It's a big vicious cycle. And I want to tell you one more time, this is a physical problem. You're not crazy. It's not psychological. You're not going nuts. I don't want you to feel like you're alone in this, because you're not, because I'm here. There's 3 million of us out here every year developing PTSDs. It could happen to anybody at any time, to anyone. And so, with that, when you're talking about therapy, different people react differently to different things. So now you got to figure out, and I'm going to have to figure out what's going to work for me. So you might have to experiment. Some things might work, some things might not. So trauma is stored in the body. So using the body is a way to help with PTSD. Some of the things that even Dr. Axe talked about, like getting out in nature, doing yoga, martial arts, exercise, vigorous exercise, not pansy-wansy exercise. We're talking about working up a sweat. Exercise helps in your life. And time will not heal PTSD. I'm living proof of that. I don't know how long I've had it. I've been with my wife 32 years. 32 years has gone by. Time hasn't healed it. I've gotten better about some things. I've been able to regulate some things better. But as far as the PTSD overall, it's not gone away. So another thing that they've come out with is EMDR. Well, that's a stimulating the brain. They use some kind of paddles or something, a response to your brain. I'm not sure how this is all working, but it's a therapeutic. They're supposed to be really great. The only problem with that, and I was excited about that, but upon further reading, and I'm not saying it isn't or it is, but the findings are it's not great for people with CPTSD, but it would be good for somebody with PTSD. So that's EMDR, and you can look that up. And I'm having a link for that too for a friend of mine, Chuck Davis, had sent me. So you can look at that. Neurofeedback is another way, another therapy. That helps to change the brain, but that takes many sessions. And I'm not sure how that works, but somehow they're showing you a video, and your brain is connected, and you listen to music or whatever, and when you get stressed out, the video stops and it's dark, and when you get back to the relaxed state in your brain, the video replays. So it trains your brain how to be relaxed and calm. I think the problem with that, it takes a lot of sessions, and it's a long process. So and then people say tapping. I don't know about the old tapping thing, but writing can re-regulate, meditation, and those kinds of things. So there's a lifestyle change that needs to take place. You have to get off the substances. You have to get. I see why you have to deal with the addictions, because the addictions are keeping you from really keeping you at bay from getting further into maybe some healthy therapy. Talk therapy and cognitive therapy is 86% effective. So that's what I'm looking into, along with my personal lifestyle changes. And again, I want to reiterate that PTSD is a physical problem. And I hope that you're out there listening, and I hope you will comment. Please, I welcome your comments, and I hope you all have a good day, and looking forward to being PTSD free along with you. I'm Randy Stevens. Talk to you later.